Well, good afternoon, White County. David Murphy, Director of Emergency Management, is here with you again. We are still in our recovery phase. Things are challenging for a lot of you, and we are doing our best to make sure we can get the services back to you as quickly as possible. Our road crews today are continuing to get the roadways open. All of our Tier 1, our primary county roads are open with caution. They're working on our secondary and our tri-terry roads as we speak. We still have National Guard, Georgia Forestry, and Georgia DNR assisting us in getting those roads open. So we want you to know that we're working hard on that. I want to hit a few high points. If I'm looking down at my notes, I want to make sure that I am hitting everything. So excuse me for looking down today. One of the things I want to talk about that still going on, we have our Red Cross congregate evacuation shelter located at Yona Preserve at our new gymnasium. That facility is open. We have capacity. Taking care of you. It's got a warm place, showers, and it's also got the feeding going on there. So the Red Cross is completely operating this shelter, and if you need it, please use it. I cannot stress enough that it's there for you, and we have some capacity there for. So please take advantage of this situation. Red Cross is a great partner for us and been able to bring some much needed assets right now to our county. There are cold days ahead. We're looking at several more days of getting below freezing, especially not much warmer in the days. Some days we're going to hit maybe into the upper 30s to the low 40s, but at night it will still be very cold. So there are cold days ahead. So please prepare. Listen, I know everybody doesn't have social media, and I know there's people that probably are not getting this message. If you know vulnerable people in your community that may not have the capability of seeing this, please go check on them and let them know about the shelter that is open, especially some of our elderly residents and such that may or may not have the capability of seeing this live, and let them know are available. Check on your neighbors and let us know and let them know what resources are available. County schools are closed again tomorrow. Even though some of the roadways are open, there is going to be black ice and icy spots that still are out there. Also, there are power that are hanging low that buses may not be able to get to. Also, with what some trees leaning over the highway that could fall at any moment. We don't want to risk our students being out on the roadways. We want to keep them safe. And so schools have decided again to close tomorrow. Also, tomorrow between the hours of 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. at with a partnership between Cleveland First Baptist Church and the Bridge Church in Cleveland, located at 675 Holtsey Road. They will be having food distribution between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow. That is food distribution 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. They also will have some water, blankets, and toiletries available. They have Wi-Fi access, and they have places where you can charge your phones and your devices. They also will be providing a hot spaghetti meal during those hours. So we have they'll be posting this information. Will be posted on our website as well. Again, this is Cleveland First Baptist and the Bridge Church are partnering together to provide food distribution and hot meals between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow for those folks that need access to this. Today, we are honored to have the president and CEO of Habersham Electric Membership Corporation, Mr. Brian Ferguson, to give us an update on HEMC's work and where they stand at this point. President Ferguson, we're glad to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you, David. Appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to the citizens of White County. So Habersham EMC, we service 6 counties in Northeast Georgia. We're in Raven, Habersham, White, Lumpkin, Hall, and Stevens. So the update I'm going to give you today is just for White County. You know, as you guys saw as well. Early Sunday morning is when we started seeing outages. So around 7 a.m. Sunday morning, we started seeing our first outages, and those were in White County. So we're about 56 hours into the storm. As always, safety is our number one priority, whether it's our linemen working in the field or safety for the community. Safety is number one. So I just ask you to be patient as we work safely to get the power restored. Also, we've brought in massive resources from sister co-ops around the state. So we have linemen from other EMCs and contractors from all over the state of Georgia and outside. One thing that we've seen with this storm is it is a major tree event. So if you've been out and around looking trees down, that's been one of the major problems for us is trees. So with the ice and the wind that we saw Sunday, obviously caused major damage. But we're still continuing to see that. Even as late as today, this morning, we were still having additional new outages and broken poles caused by falling trees. So it's a major event, heavy ice and some of the winds on those trees have caused hundreds of trees. We're approximately at about 40 broken poles just in White County. So we have crews working to restore those and replace those. But again, the challenge is just getting into some of those locations. So we're having to cut our path in, in some of the areas just because of the road access. So it's taking longer than it would normally, but those are the challenges that we're having to deal with in this storm. So at the peak, which occurred Sunday afternoon, so the peak outage in White County was about approximately 11,500, and that's about 80% of the Habersham EMC distribution system in White County. So 80% of our members, our meters in White County were out at the peak of the storm. Currently, we have over 250 linemen just working in White County. And with those linemen are additional tree crews assisting with each crew to get in and out of the areas. We've worked 24/7. We have enough contractors and other co-ops to help 24/7. So we've been working around the clock and rotating those crews and getting them rest as they need it. And we will continue to work 24/7 till we get the last meter restored. So that's not just the linemen, but our engineers, our management, our fleet services, our warehouse. We're all staffed and working 24 hours till this event is restored. Just to give you some quick numbers, miles of line down. We've estimated hundreds of miles of line down. As far as new cable, we're estimating that we're over 50,000 feet of new conductor that we've had to replace. There's no shortage of material. We have adequate stock of material and continue to receive shipments from our vendors each and every day as we need it. Again, one thing that we've had to be real cautious about are just the conditions, the driving, the ice on the road, the trees falling around where our linemen are working. You may have seen on our social media Sunday where a pine tree actually fell across one of our contractors' trucks, their bucket trucks as they were working. So really treacherous conditions out there. Also, as we restore areas, we have to do switching, and sometimes an area that has been restored will go back out shortly for a few minutes or an hour, and that's generally because we're switching our system back around to try to achieve somewhat normal operations on the system. So a lot of switching occurs during these events that may cause a momentary outage or a short outage after you've already been restored. And so with that, I just encourage everyone to stay safe. If you see downed conductors, just stay away from those. We know that there's been a lot of generators connected to the system and that can cause backfeed conditions. We've seen a lot of that already, and I encourage safety for the residents and for the EMS and other personnel, the county road crews working out there clearing trees. So be careful and report to us any down conductors. Please stay away from those. Another thing is we know we have a smart meter system. We know all the outages. We know who's out, and we won't stop till we get all those restored. So that's our commitment. We're working 24/7 till we get all of the meters restored. So, David, that's a quick rundown of White County, and I'll be glad to answer any more questions that you might have.
Thank you, Brian. I think a couple of things that just stands out to me that maybe the public would like to hear from, patience it runs thin, especially the longer we go. And I'd like to try to reassure that we know y'all are working very hard. What would you say to our community who is still out of power? What kind of message from HEMC would you like to express?
Right. Okay. So yes, patience. I know it's cold. It's uncomfortable. I'll also say it's uncomfortable for the linemen that are working out in those conditions. So we just encourage your patience and thankful for that. Again, we had crews working throughout the night last night, and this morning it was here in Clarksville, it was 10 degrees. So we understand that. It is a multi-day event. This is, for any measurement, this is a major ice storm for Northeast Georgia. And it's going to take a while to get all of the meters restored. But again, we have plenty of resources out in the field, damage assessors, engineers, linemen, and again, we know where the outages are. It just takes time to get to those and safely assess those and make repairs. So please be patient. We understand it's uncomfortable, and we thank you for your patience.
Yes, and you may have said it, and I may have missed it because I've got several things going on. What's the anticipation? Do you feel like on having most of the people restored, or do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, so I can speak to that, but I am going to speak high level because I know what I say,
yes,
may change. Things change, but with the resources we have in here, we know that we're going to continue to work throughout the day today and through the night tonight. We know there's going to be some lingering outages into tomorrow, but our goal is throughout the rest of the day today, the daylight hours, and into tonight. Our goal is to get the majority of those outages restored. We've made a lot of progress today. The sunshine and warm weather has really helped us out. So we've made a lot of progress, and a lot of the areas were just so heavily damaged that there's multiple broken poles on the lines, and it takes a while to fix those. But we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, thank you. I believe that's great information for people who are wondering, where we stand and how close we're getting there. And Brian, I do thank you for your time today. I know it's valuable. I know you got a lot on you. We are thankful for what you and your teams are doing. We have seen them in action. Some of us are getting out. We're going and looking at different things and damages and such. So we see them in action. Do appreciate that so much. Doing a great job. I'm going to go back and we're going to move over to Chief Strength and let him give an update on the weather outlook for what we're currently facing and looking at some potential weekend weather to just give you an update on where we are on that. So, Chief Strength, I'm going to turn it to you.
Thank you, Director Murphy, and thank you, Brian, for joining us from HEMC this afternoon. 90% of recovering from an event like this is information and understanding and knowing what's going on the backside. And we greatly appreciate HEMC for joining us this afternoon. And let me, before I get into the weather, let me just reiterate what the director was saying and understand, folks, this is a very fluid situation. Brian explained it well, and we've seen it because we're watching those numbers very closely in our emergency operations center on who has power and who does not have power. And you'll see the outage numbers come down, then all of a sudden you'll see them go back up. And a lot of that is the switching of the circuit. Once they get an area repaired, they may have to take someone down that already has power in order to get that circuit complete. So you're going to see that happen from time to time as they continue to get their grid back to 100%. And it's almost impossible to tell you guys, yes, by this time, we're going to have your power back on. They're really going through this pole by pole, and it's just impossible to give you an exact time. But I think the words we heard from Brian are very encouraging, that maybe the majority of you will be back in the not too distant future. But here's the deal. If you are without power and you heat with power and you don't have adequate heat in your home, don't stay in that situation assuming that you're going to have your power back in 6 hours or 12 hours or even 24 hours. Doesn't matter at this point. If you're in a need mode and you're in a life safety situation with no heat because of the prolonged period of cold weather we're dealing with, don't leave yourself in that situation. Don't leave your family in that situation. Go to the shelter. That's what it is there for. Don't wait any longer thinking that, well, maybe my power will be back on by 9 o'clock tonight. Maybe you see the power company working in your area. And that is a good sign. Absolutely it is. But if you're hurting, if you're cold, if you've endured this to your limit, then you need to go to our shelter that we have set up for you at Park and Rec. Please do not hesitate to do that. And here's why I'm so adamant about this, folks, because the weather doesn't get any better for us. Yes, we do get above freezing for a few hours the next couple of days in the afternoon. Each day will be a degree or two warmer, and that period above freezing will expand 15, 20 minutes, an hour here, maybe 2 hours by the time we get out there on Thursday and Friday. But we're still going well below freezing every single night. And we're enduring below freezing temperatures for longer periods than we are above freezing. The sun is certainly helping get rid of the residual ice that we still have in the trees, but it's not helping us much as far as warmth inside of our home. So that part's not going to improve, and I'm awfully afraid. Well, I know for a fact we're going to have another shot of reinforcing Arctic air in here on Friday night into Saturday that's going to push this situation well into next week. So the cold temperatures are here to stay. They're here to stay at least through the middle of next week. So do not stay in a life-threatening situation. We have a place for you, and it is there as long as there is a need in White County, and we want you to take advantage of that so that you will be safe through this entire event. Now, I talked about the fact that we have reinforcing cold air on the way. We have another cold front that will dip into the southeastern United States sometime Friday night into Saturday. We're also looking at the possibility of some winter precipitation with this next event, Friday night into Saturday, maybe continuing on into the noon hour on Saturday. Let me caution you, it is way too early to start talking about specifics. The only reason I mentioned that possibility of freezing precipitation is because our armchair meteorologists on social media have already started with the fear-mongering and the end of times graphics about this next storm system that will affect many of you across the southeastern United States that are still trying to recover from the ice storm that we had this past weekend. The only thing we know for certain right now is that it's going to be brutally cold again this weekend, lasting into the middle of next week. We do not know exactly what type, if any, winter precipitation we may have to deal with Friday night into Saturday. The models have just now started talking about this possibility. And just as it was with the ice storm, there will be many changes in what we see with the models over the next 3-4 days leading up to the potential winter event Friday night and Saturday across Northeast Georgia and particularly across White County. Is there a possibility of snow? Yes, there is. We cannot tell you how much or exactly where that will happen. There are multiple scenarios out there already. Depends on where the low pressure forms, depends on where it moves after it forms. And so we don't know. We don't know if we're going to see snow Wednesday night or Saturday in White County, but it is certainly a possibility. The one good thing, if we do have winter precipitation Friday night into Saturday, is the temperatures are going to be much colder than they typically are when we see snow. So we're talking about a dry powder snow, if we get snow, that will not or shouldn't stick to trees and power lines. That'll make the folks at HEMC very happy. It certainly makes us here at Public Safety very happy. We can deal with snow all day long. That's not a problem. It's the ice that we don't want. And I can tell you early in this process that all signals are there will be no ice with this event coming in on Friday into Saturday. We will fine tune what we think we're going to get as we head toward the event, but it's probably going to be Thursday, at least late tomorrow afternoon or sometime Thursday before confidence gets much higher on the possibility of winter precipitation. But what you should leave from here today with this: it is cold. It is going to continue to be cold all the way through the middle of next week. And if you are in a situation where you do not have power and you do not have adequate heating, don't assume that your power is coming back in the next few hours. Go ahead. We've still got some daylight left, and go to the shelter at Park and Rec here in White County so you can be warm, you can be safe, and you will have plenty of food. We're going to take care of you out there. And if you need assistance or have any questions about anything I've talked about today, you can give us a call on our non-emergency number in the White County 911 Center. Let me ask you, please don't call 911 unless you have an emergency. We're getting a ton of calls from people asking when their power is going to be restored. And honestly, we can't answer that question. You just heard the president and CEO of HEMC explain to you where they've been, where they are now, and what their process is. They're working 24 hours a day around the clock to restore your power. And they have made incredible progress in the most difficult of circumstances to get your power back on. And they're not going to stop. You heard it from the president. They're not going to stop until the very last meter is turned back on. So there's a great glimmer of hope for those of you that are still without power. But don't stay in a bad situation thinking your power's about to come on. Reach out for help, and we will help you be safe and be warm through the remainder of this event. Also, there have been some discussions about the shelter, when it's going to open, when it's going to close. That shelter is open. It is being operated by American Red Cross, and it is not going to close until there are no longer or until there are no needs in White County. That is a promise and a fact. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'll continue with our 4 o'clock updates here on White County Public Safety throughout the duration of this event, and we will come on sooner if we have information that we believe is pertinent to the citizens of White County. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening to our advice and staying off the roadways. Most major roadways are open now. There are those areas in the county where you need to be very careful. But thank you for listening to what we're telling you and joining us here. Pass it along to your friends on social media. Make sure you share our daily broadcast on your news feed. That helps us spread the word that there is a good outlet for information, and we will be here every afternoon at 4 p.m. until there's no longer a need. Thank you, White County. See you tomorrow afternoon. Godspeed.